Oh, the guy is back. How was the adventure? How was Shasta? Yeah? Did you see Big Tom?
Yeah.
He's floating around. Did you see your brother? Dude, you missed your brother, dude? Your brother's over here. He's your favorite brother, too, dude. Or actually, that's Chuck G, dude. Was it fun?
Yeah.
That's good. Did Chuck slay it on the tables? Did Chuck slay it on the tables?
Hey, ooh, all right. We got a microphone tonight. Woo! Hey, we're going to get started. So if you're here and you want to listen, please come grab a seat. There are plenty up front here. Pizza, beer, restrooms behind me in case you didn't hear the previous announcements. Cool. Everybody has a seat who wants one? Is that what I'm gathering? Yeah? Cool. You're all quiet. So, hey, welcome to Tahoe Mountain Sports. Thanks for coming. Awesome. How many of you have been to either part? Let's start this way. Who's been to part 1 of the series back in November? Cool. Part 2? Few more. And whose first time is it ever in this store? This is your first time ever. Awesome. Cool. So a little bit of everybody. So I'll have to give you the rundown regardless. There's plenty more seats up here, so keep filtering in. You're not going to insult me. I don't care. Come on up. And there's pizza, beer, wine, etc. in the back. Welcome to Tahoe Mountain Sports. My name is Dave. I am one of the owners here. Lovely wife Pam is somewhere around. She is the other owner. You have come in. This is our part 3 of our season-long Avalanche education series. We had part 1 back in November. We talked a little bit with the Sierra Avalanche Center about some know before you go practices. We talked in December. We did a whole bunch of beacon practice and talked about that great stuff. And now we're here in January to give you all kind of a fun evening about Avalanche airbag packs and how those work and some of the intricacies on all of these wonderful products. And first of all, a huge thank you. Our main sponsor and the people who have really made this possible all season long is going to be Ortavox USA. They've been a great supporter, so can we get a big thank you to Ortavox? And all the product that they've contributed. We've had raffles at all of our previous events as well. All of the raffles are benefiting the Sierra Avalanche Center. Our grand prize at tonight's raffle is going to be one of these fancy Mammut airbag packs. So a really big thanks to Mammut for stepping up and supporting both the series and the Sierra Avalanche Center in such a great way. So thanks to Mammut. A couple of representatives here from them. And then I also want to do some supporting sponsors are also Black Diamond, North Face, and ABS and ARVA have also been great supporters. So thanks to all those guys as well, and you'll hear from them later. For those of you who don't know about us, it's Tahoe Mountain Sports. TahoeMountainSports.com is our website. We're open every single day. We work with a very similarly named operation called Tahoe Mountain School, of which we have Steve Renault with Tahoe Mountain School here. Steve's right back there. Very briefly, none of these events are we claiming to be an Avalanche educational course. These are to give you a taste of some of the principles that you'll find in a course, of some of the gear that you'll be able to use, and just some general overviews of some things that are going on in the backcountry world. So if you're looking for an official level 1, you can talk to Steve with Tahoe Mountain School. They run everything right here out of our shop. And they're also an Ortavox an ARI certified, or ARI, what's the term? ARI provider of Avalanche education, also supported by Ortavox. So you get to use all sorts of great Ortavox gear if you take a class from them. We are heading into the Avalanche airbag debate. That's what tonight is all about. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown so you guys all know what you're in for. We are going to start out with just a very brief introduction. So another quick show of hands. Who already owns an airbag pack? Cool. Awesome. And who's sort of interested in potentially buying an airbag pack in the next year or two? If you had the money and everything being equal. Awesome. And who just has no idea what we're talking about? Like, you're like, what the heck is an airbag pack? Anybody? We got a Paul? No, come on. Anybody? No, good. So we're starting off on a pretty good foot. That's great to see. And what we're going to do this evening is we're going to spend about 10 minutes just going over some very quick basics with Jared. And then we are going to move into the actual debate portion of the evening. We've got a whole bunch of questions lined up for these guys, and then we're going to let you guys just hammer them home. So you can just, anything you have, they're here to answer. And if they can't answer it, it's going to be really fun, because then you can haze them later. And then after that, we're going to run into the raffle, which is going to go super fast. And then we're going to do, for anybody who has an airbag pack and brought it, we will do a deployment, a group deployment of all the packs together, and a free exchange or refill depending on the fuel that your pack uses. And if you don't use fuel, we'll hear from those this evening, then lucky you, you don't need a refill. So it's all good. You just have to go home and charge it. And then we're going to stick around. These guys are going to stick around all night. We have some specials going on. We're going to do 15% off any airbag pack purchases tonight only. And that's pretty much how we're going to do it. So with that, I'm think Jared's up next. So I'm going to hand it over to Jared Rodriguez. Jared is our regional sales representative from Ortavox USA. And he's going to give us a quick rundown on sort of airbag packs in general, and then we'll move into the debate portion of this evening's program.
Wow, so official. First time I've ever talked into a microphone. It's kind of weird. Yeah, my name's Jared. I'm with Ortavox. So we're just going to talk a little bit. I'm going to get out of the way of this. And we're going to do just a quick little presentation on just kind of probably a review for some of you guys. Talk about some stats, talk about what airbags do. So we'll just jump right into it. So you'll notice that the header on this slide says self-rescue. Now, we are shameless little plug, first of all. You're going to see ABS throughout. We and some of the other guys who will be talking tonight are partnered up with ABS. So these slides are going to highlight our system. So there is the mention of ABS throughout. But what I like about this slide is we're now talking about self-rescue. For those of you who were at the Beacon and Beers night, the Beacon Shovel Probe night, all the slides said companion rescue. And I really like to think of it as two different silos. Let's be clear, airbags are not there to take the place, to supplant having an ARI Level 1 certification, and they are not there to supplant or take the place of a Beacon Shovel Probe. And I want to show you guys a quick video to illustrate the need for, the argument for airbags. And you guys may have seen this. This is in our neck of the woods. Oh, hang on. Yeah, let's see. I'm sorry. How'd you get that?
Watch him.
Yeah, let me mess with it. You keep talking for a sec.
Okay.
I'll mess with it. No. You keep talking.
Yeah. We'll just go. Well, this is the problem. Trying to get YouTube videos going on these presentations sometimes is a challenge. So what I want to do is we're going to talk about the fact that these airbags are self-rescue systems. Dave, let's just go ahead and not worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. So what we've got is a couple different types of systems. We've got an ABS twin-powered twin bag powered by nitrogen. We also have single bags with compressed air. Now this slide was made before the Black Diamond system came out, and we're going to be talking about the Black Diamond system as well. So it's very, very simple, right? We are just trying to stay up on the snow. Without the airbag system, we're going to sink like a rock. Our mass is going to sink us like a rock. With the airbag system, the hope is that it's back to when we were kids with our little floaties on our arms, right, in the pool. We are out there floating and surfing and staying up on top of the snow. And that is absolutely proven by the numbers. So when we're talking about a burial rate, and it's really hard, some of these are really small to see, but basically with an airbag, 97%, and these are the current numbers, these are definitely European. I have a couple of disclaimers here. So the airbag market is way, way, way more mature over in Europe. So these numbers are mainly from Europe. We expect these numbers to change as the US market gets more mature. Can anybody guess why that might be?
Airbags are more relevant in the Alps.
What's that?
Airbags are more relevant in the Alps.
They are. There's more of them, yes. They've been around for a lot longer, and there's a lot more people that ski with them. Mainly, it's the type of skiing. So in Europe, you're above tree line quite a bit. The skiing here in the US is going to be at or below tree line. So that's going to be one of the biggest factors in changing these numbers as the US, we start creating data. But extremely compelling. So we're talking about 97% with at least some sort of body part visible on the snow.
How large
yep.
a sample population is that?
Yeah, I don't have the details. This is an interesting thing. Even when we're talking about avalanche reporting in the US, when we're talking about statistics and everything, it's in its infancy as far as the reporting goes. So this is the best I can do, and I don't know what is behind these numbers. So I will totally admit that. Yeah. What's that? Yeah, please.
You're talking about hundreds, not thousands.
It looks like there's numbers down at the bottom, 240 versus 7, and 38 versus 29.
Yeah.
The not all AVI incidents go reported, so this is based off of reported avalanche occurrences that also involves packs that were activated. Current studies, both here in North America and in Europe, are reporting somewhere between 20 and 30% of AVI instances where airbags are involved. The airbags are not deployed for one reason or another.
Thanks, Sean. So, and then without, so we're at a 57-43, so almost half and half, where you are going to be buried. 43% are buried. So, survival rate is very, very similar. So we're talking about going from a 75-25 situation without an airbag to a 97% survival rate, again, based off of the current numbers that we have with the airbags. So it's a very compelling reason to back up your beacon shovel probe with an airbag. And really, for the most part, that's all I've got. So we're gonna go from there and get the debate started.
Awesome. So Jared was here just to give us a quick little rundown of kind of give you guys a little background information, I would say. And now I'm going to introduce everybody. We're going to get the debate going. And I want to make a couple of quick disclaimers or so as we get into this. So first of all, we're not in any way saying like airbags are mandatory or you need this or you have to do this or you have to do that. This is a conversation about a piece of equipment that exists in the market that is available for you to purchase and potentially could help you in a situation. That's kind of one of the base things that I want to say here. Also, this conversation is meant to be fun, it's meant to be entertaining, it's meant to be educational. At the end of the day, all of these potentially life-saving devices that we're going to talk about, there's no correct answer to what's the best airbag pack on the market. I think what you guys are likely all to come out of this with is you're going to have a lot more information to make a decision on whether or not A, this gear is right for you, and B, what might be the best type of gear to fit your particular style. We've got snowmobilers, we've got skiers, we've got snowmobilers, skiers, snowboarders. We've got people traveling over snow in a ton of different ways. In addition, just because you have an airbag doesn't mean a damn thing. If any of you follow what happened in Utah over this past week, you just had deaths for people who had airbag packs. So there's other things that are coming into play. We have terrain issues. We have the ability to pull your handle. And that's actually the reason this event started. I think we started this, 4 years ago? When did we do that? Our first one was about 3 or 4 years ago. And we sell online. And basically the disclaimer, or what we started to see in our shop was tons and tons of people coming in, buying this stuff online, and having absolutely no clue what to do with it, okay? And that is a reality. And you're gonna buy stuff wherever you want. You might find a great deal on Steep and Cheap. I don't care. Wherever you wanna do it, at least learn how to use it, know how to use your gear, know how to pack it away. I actually got a call, the store here got a call about 2 weeks ago from somebody who was halfway up to LAC, who had detonated their airbag pack and had no clue how to put it away. I'm not kidding. Okay, so they called us from, 9,500 feet, halfway up to LAC, 5 people in their party, trying to do customer service because they bought their bag from Steep and Cheap and had never used it before. Okay, so this stuff is real. I'm not making this up. This is an absolute true story. So the reason why we started this was to allow for folks who have an airbag pack to actually use it and not be afraid to pull the trigger and not be afraid to pack it back away, or maybe you folded it wrong or you stuffed it wrong. This is a chance to sort of open yourself up and be accepting of, we all don't know everything, we all don't know all the answers, but hey, if we're all traveling in the backcountry, and especially this season, which we're all very thankful for all the precipitation and all the moisture, be safe. So that's my disclaimer, okay? Just wanted to make that very, very, very clear. Now I want to introduce everybody we have here. Let's get rid of the screen. Why don't you guys move a little more?
Oh, I'm really enjoying being by the.
Oh, come on, move into the center. Let me introduce our participants for the evening. I'm going to start with the first guy here on my left. We've got John Clausen. John is a representative from ABS, ARVA, and Brooks Range. Thanks for coming, John. We've got Aaron Olson. Aaron is from the North Face. Dan Dixon to his left with Black Diamond. Jared Rodriguez with Ortovox, who we've already heard from. And Doug Workman, who has come all the way from Jackson Hole to be here to help us with Mammut, along with Greg Kaiser, who's standing in the back. So Doug and Greg both representing Mammut. In addition, we've got a couple other Mammut athletes. We got Todd Offenbacher here, who's also an ambassador with Mammut as well. So just want to introduce these folks to you. I've got a whole series of questions lined up, and then we're just going to open it up and let you guys sort of fire away at them. But we got to give you sort of a little bit of grounding first. I'm going to keep these guys on time, so I know they're all long-winded because I get to work with them all the time, and this is going to be my opportunity to say, hey, shut up, it's time to move on. So most of their answers are going to be down to about 2 minutes.
You do that pretty much.
Somebody needs to shut me up, right? Okay, so first we're going to go through the line here. We're going to go right in order. We're going to start with Clausen and moving on down, and you've got under 2 minutes, okay? I don't know if you've ever said anything in under 2 minutes, Clausen. Please give us a rundown of your general pack configurations, including the fuel used, the number of airbags, the position of those airbags, whether or not they are removable, and their ability to integrate with other packs in your line. Ready?
Wow.
Go.
Thanks, Dave. And by the way, I hope that you got that person's credit card and a consultation fee for helping them out on TLAC. Anyway, as Dave knows, I'm a little bit old. I've landed on my head a few times, so I have my notes. I'm going to read from them so I don't leave out anything pertinent.
You go.
ABS basically offers 2 packs in their system, a Vario and a powder. The difference, the Vario is designed to carry loads from minimalist to expedition needs. Powder is a smaller overall pack design. It houses the same exact airbag system, but it works well for free riding, going through a boundary gate for a couple of laps, and or for people of shorter stature, physical stature, not anything other than that. Both ABS packs work off a flexible 2-component system, a base unit, which I just happen to have here. Thank you, Dave. So, base unit, which houses the airbag system, the twin airbag system, the pyrotechnic handle, and then the zip-ons. It comes with an 8-liter zip-on, but you have, would you, Dana? Yeah. Thank you. Comes with the 8-liter. You have the options of an 18, 24, 32, or the Monster 45 plus 5, which search and rescue outfits often carry. Personally, I would never go out with something that loaded, but I'm only 140 pounds, what do I know? ABS's versatility comes not only with the ability to add different zip-ons to the base unit, but if you need to go out one day when the avalanche danger is non-existent, don't need the airbag system, you can have 26 seconds. It has a summer base unit, or basically something without the zip on it. So it's super flexible. You're not taking in and out the guts of the system. You can swap things out in about 60 seconds. A lot less, about the same amount of time that I have left. Dave's going to let me go over. You have nitrogen as Jared already touched on. Nitrogen's free of going through a phase change. Basically, you can go from sea level to top of Colorado. You can be at 0 degrees centigrade, or you can be minus 20, and it's still going to fill your airbags at the same rate.
Just like in the Republican debate, you're done. All right, all right. So there we go, our first cutoff of the evening. One thing I'll add for John, because he didn't get a chance to finish, is ABS-based units allow you to switch the trigger to your right or left hand. So really important for some of the snowmobilers in the group as well.
Or if you're just left.
Moving right along, if you're left-handed, true. Moving right along, we've got Aaron Olson with the North Face.
Same question?
Same question to everybody to start.
Repeat the question.
Give us a rundown of your general pack configurations, fuel used, number of bags, position of bags, removable or not, and ability to integrate with other bags in your line.
Okay. Where do we start? I think there's like 6 questions there. I'll try to hit them all. So North Face partnered with ABS several years ago, about 3-4 years ago, based on the fact of the history that ABS had, perfect, in Europe mostly, and a lot driven on athlete demand. A lot of our athletes are demanding packs from us for safety reasons. So, configuration. Ours currently is a modular system, so this is on a Snowmad 26. The ABS system is attached to this pack. Now this pack, the system itself could go on any pack, withholding maybe a school backpack, right? You're not going to take your elementary school day pack and strap an airbag to it. But if you have a favorite Osprey or Deuter or Gregory pack or North Face pack, hopefully, you can strap this thing on to whatever pack you want. And what I think is really brilliant about it, kind of like the system that you could either zip it off or zip it on, if you need it, then bring it. You check you check the website, see if you need the conditions are calling for, a possible slide event, then strap it on, you're good to go. If you don't need it, leave it at home, all right? What else? Type of gas. We use nitrogen, some inert gas, so you can travel with it. Same thing with a firearm. You want to do TSA check-in, fill out the form. Now, you have to check with your airline. Make sure that certain airlines can do different things, so check on that. But it is an inert gas, so you should be able to fly with it, no problem. Dual airbag system, right? So it's redundant. So if there's a problem with one side or the other, you still have 2 systems, 2 airbags to help keep you safe. 3 seconds, 2, 1. We also do a vest.
Awesome.
Right. So there you go.
Dan Dixon with Black Diamond coming up next.
Okay, so we are running a little bit different system than all the rest up here tonight. We run a battery-operated fan system, and I think as the questions come up, I can get more into how that works. But as far as the configuration, we have 3 different volume packs. We have an 11, a 28, and a 40 liter, and in each of those packs, we have multiple sizes in each volume. And then we have a 200 liter bag, which maybe these guys can correct me, but I think right now that's the biggest bag. And it is basically a U shape up over the head. And as far as integrating into any other bags, it doesn't really, because it's just our one system that we have. So I think, was that all the questions?
Bags, position bags, removable or not?
Not removable. It's permanently fixed in the bag.
It's a single pack. Black Diamond is
Yeah.
a single pack. You buy a 28 liter pack, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Dan. Dan wins so far, everybody. 55 seconds right there.
Mine win.
Now, there we go. Touche.
The debate hasn't even started yet. Nobody's won yet.
Give the extra applause.
Okay, so Ortovox. So, did you mention that ABS is based in Germany?
2 minutes on it.
Yeah, no. So Ortovox and ABS are both based in Germany, and somebody must be close friends over there, because they did something for us that, to my knowledge, so far is still unique. The challenge with the overall ABS system, they make great bags, but they don't make great packs, and their system is designed to marry to all sorts of other systems. So what they did for Ortovox is they gave us a modular system that is integrated into our packs. So the system with Ortovox uses the ABS reliability and security. However, it is a modular system. So at Ortovox, we have several packs. We have several different leaders. We have men's and women's packs. They carry well, they climb well, they ski well, but then the Ortovox airbag system is married inside our packs. It's integrated into our packs. They're sold a la carte, so you can get a pack, you can get the system and use the ABS trigger, but then you can actually take that system out, you can place it into another Ortovox backpack if you want to get 2 bags and just 1 airbag system. Or if you want to use your pack in the summer and you don't want to carry that airbag weight, you can take it out entirely. If there's no avalanche danger, you can take it out and ski with it, and it's a lighter system, or you can take it out and use it in the summer. So we have several different packs, both men's and women's. They're all modular, and our one airbag system fits into every single pack that we sell. Does that answer all the questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Good job, Derek. And we've got Doug Workman with Mammut.
So Mammut currently makes 2 different balloon configurations. That's the first place I'm going to start. One of them is, for the record, they're all removable systems, even though the names are kind of a little bit odd at this point. But this is called the RAS, Removable Airbag System, because when they initially bought Snow Pulse, this was the first thing they came out with. So this is the removable airbag system. This balloon and the airbag guts inside of it can be removed and placed in how many different packs?
Between 15 and 45.
There's a lot of different packs, pretty much every size you can imagine, short torso for short people and women. So there's a ton of different packs there, going from like 18 liter vests, 18 liters, up to 45 liters. The other balloon configuration is a very different system, and you can see with this airbag pack, the balloon is actually in the shoulder straps, because when this pack is deployed, it's going to be a big horseshoe around your head. And there's not a lot of science behind a lot of the airbag stuff. Even the studies they were showing that, like you were saying, the data sets are really small. And there hasn't been a lot of data studying different balloon shapes, and I really hope that that does happen eventually, because I do think balloon shape is really interesting. And in my mind, anecdotally, there's 2 things that can change the safety of a balloon shape. And those 2 things are the length of the airbag system, which ABS would win as having the longest airbag system. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence that would say that you get the most of your body out of the snow. And the other one is whether the airbag is in front of you or behind you. It makes a lot of sense if you think about a personal flotation device used on the river. The flotation's in the front of you to encourage you coming up. This is the only airbag system on the market that has balloon in front of you to really encourage you to come face up. And because it's a horseshoe around your neck, it also does have the potential for trauma protection if you do get washed through the trees. And you can look up Pascal Hagley's study about, he put accelerometers on dummies' heads and did show that already 2 minutes? It's compressed air, mechanical trigger, extremely simple and reliable, and you can travel and get compressed air filled in a lot of locations. Yeah.
And I also forgot a quick little interlude here, but for any of you who are here for part 1 or part 2, and you're standing in the back, I want to give a big thanks to 101.5 Truckee Tahoe Radio and JD Haas for the sound system. Thank you, 101.5, our local.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome, JD.
We'll pass this mic around to the audience next. Yeah, see, cordless, buddy. That's the way it goes.
Damn.
You don't get cordless.
Cool. So we're gonna move right along. Compressed air, in case you didn't get that. So Mahmoud and BCA, who's not here, work on compressed air systems. All of the ABS systems work on compressed nitrogen. And then you have no fuel, you have electronic fan blowers in Black Diamond. Coming up next, we've got John Clausen. 2 minutes on this question. Considering ABS has been in this category the longest, can you give us the history of ABS and what helps stand ABS apart from the competition both in the past and currently?
Sure, Dave, no problem. I can compress 30 years into 2 minutes. ABS is celebrating its 30th year anniversary. It's basically the company that started this whole category. It began, believe it or not, in the mid-70s when a Bavarian forest ranger made a very fortunate discovery. This is an incredible story. I still can't believe it. He was carrying a sizable slain, quote-unquote, slain animal. I don't know if it was a deer, a goat, or what have you. But over his shoulders, and he was caught in an avalanche. For those that have been caught in an avalanche, have had anybody caught, it's a very upside-down washing machine, turbulent ride. Somehow this guy managed to hold on to it for the majority of the slide and staying on top as he did so. From that occurrence, the idea of an avalanche airborne was born. There was a recognition of increasing his surface area, his volume had something to do with him staying on top. Later, there's more along the lines of physics and the law of inverse segregation, where basically the larger nut in a bag of nuts gets brought out to the surface. But then in 1985, ABS was formed. ABS stands for Avalanche Balloon Security System. Yeah, there you go. In 1996, the twin airbag system was implemented along with the pyrotechnic handle. Basically, through trial and error, real world results, they realized that a lot more can be done with two bags rather than a mono bag being behind your shoulders and above your head. They moved to the pyrotechnic handle because it proved not to be susceptible to freezing, corrosion, and all those other items that a mechanical pull can become susceptible to. In 2008, the base unit zip-on component system was launched, and then in 2009, a wireless activation option was introduced to help European search and rescue groups when they had to go into hazardous areas where there was a risk of secondary exposure. They had, up till then, had to go in with their airbags deployed, and then with the wireless trigger system, no longer had to do that, so basically the buddies could take a look. So that's a bit of ABS's history. What sets apart ABS from those who have entered the market since then? We've touched on a lot of that stuff with the Vario and Powder's ease and versatility, the zip-on base and so forth. The twin airbags offering greater float. We touched a little bit about how they're configured. Come back to me with a question, because there are recent studies that have come out in the last 2 years, and I'd be happy to address the wing system versus mono bag. The nitrogen and the benefit of pyrotechnic, we've already addressed that. Furthermore, ABS, when we get into, I'm going to anticipate one of the questions, nitrogen canisters or anything that you have to fill versus plugging it in and recharging. ABS has worked really hard the last several years to establish service centers, such as Tahoe Mountain Sports, where you can come in with your activation unit after doing a test deployment or the real deal, get a new set of long underwear, and get your activation unit changed out for $40, $45 and walk right back out of the store after you've, of course, perused the tremendous amount of goods there. So it's easier to get it exchanged than you might think.
Shameless plugs, don't you don't get an extra minute in this debate. Sorry, John. But thank you. We're going to move over to Aaron quickly to talk about why the North Face and some of the other licensed companies out there have decided to use ABS functionality in their products.
So I briefly talked a little bit about it on the opening, but I want to say 5 years ago there was a slide that came across the desks of product developers and athletes at North Face, and it was this aha moment that as a outdoor exploration brand that we needed to be playing in this space. And Xavier De La Rue is one of our top snowboard athletes, big mountain free ride athlete of ours, and he really had a big influence of us actually pulling the trigger and developing an airbag system. And we looked at all available options, and based on the history and that 97% success rate and the technology, we, as a brand, decided to go and partner with ABS, and they've been a great partner. And it allows the North Face also, similar to Ortovox, to develop either packs or a modular system or whatever we want to do with their technology, and still have an identity within North Face or identity within Ortovox, let's say, but you're still using the guts and technology of a proven system. So yeah, that's why we landed at ABS.
Thank you, Aaron. We're going to move over to Dan, because Dan had a little tough. Who was here last year for this event? Do we have any last year people for the Airbag event? Oh, only 2. Good, we're going to let Dan off the hook then. So we're going to move over to Dixon. I'm not going to. And we're going to ask him. He's going to have 3 minutes on this one, because he's going to have a little bit extra to talk about. So Dan, Black Diamond launched a game-changing technology last year. Can you explain how the Black Diamond Jet Force pack works, and some of the benefits and some of the intricacies about the electronics and the pack itself and the technology that you guys are using as it pertains to Jet Force?
Yeah, so we think that we've really designed like truly a game-changing pack here. And there's really, I think, 3 main reasons that we feel that. One is, as a rechargeable battery-operated system, you can deploy it as many times as you want, and we really encourage people to deploy it regularly and really have that muscle memory committed and be really comfortable with it. Just like in Jared's presentation when he talked about, there's a certain percentage of people that are involved in incidents that haven't even deployed their bags. So we want that to be really second nature. The other thing with it is that when you leave the car in the morning and you activate this pack, it runs a full diagnostic on the pack, and it tells you exactly where it is. And so you'll hear an audible of the fan run, and then it runs through the system, and the light will turn green if everything's good to go, and then you'll have your battery indicator telling you how many deployments you have. Then once you're out there, this is a system that has multiple deployments. And so one of the things is that if you have miscalculated the conditions and you've gotten yourself into a situation and you're 2.5 hours from the car, you still got to get back. And so you have multiple deployments here. You repack the bag and you can still get back to your car. And then the system itself, when you deploy it, it runs through a 3-minute cycle. So you deploy the bag, and the 200-liter bag deploys in 3.5 seconds, but it runs one burst for 9 seconds. That is in case there's any rind of ice or anything on the bag. It blows for 9 seconds. And then you have a 1-minute cycle where it is running, alternating between 50% and full power. And that's in case you get zipper through the trees or anything like that. It keeps the bag inflated. This bag will stay inflated with up to a 5-inch tear in it during that cycle. And then the next 2 minutes of the cycle, it runs through 20-second cycles where it gives 3-minute bursts to keep the bag inflated. And this is really designed for in the incident of a full burial. What it's doing is it's keeping the bag inflated around you as that snow settles and consolidates and becomes hard. And then at the 3-minute mark, this bag automatically deflates. The fan runs in reverse and it pulls the bag back in. So you then have that air pocket around you. In a partial burial, if you were trying to extract yourself and a secondary came down, you can redeploy it from the deployed position. So it's deflated, you're trying to get yourself out, a secondary comes down, you can just pull it again and it'll reinflate and go back through the cycle. in a partial, if you feel confident that's not going to happen, you can also stop the cycle. If you've stopped and you know you're okay, you can stop the cycle manually.
Cool. Thanks, Dan. You guys will, don't worry, you'll have a chance to get some questions in maybe about 7 minutes. I'm going to move it over to Doug. Doug, can you give us an idea about the uniqueness of Mammoot's packs and sort of what differentiates them from some of the other compressed air packs on the market, and really talk about maybe some of the differences also within the Mammoot line on the PAS versus the RAS as well?
Well, I'm going to skip the RAS PAS because I already talked about that with balloon shape. But Mammoot really does believe in keeping this system as simple as possible. And I think that everybody here is making amazing products, and I'm just glad to see the competition making this more of a widespread, larger category to keep everybody safer. But we do really believe in keeping it simple. And I have unfortunately seen pyrotechnic handles fail and not deploy. And I've seen electronic airbags fail and not deploy. And I have, and not that there's a lot of science behind that, it's just my experience, I haven't seen a mechanical pull system like this fail. So it is a very simple system. The compressed air does give you a lot of flexibility to travel if you travel with it empty and fill it where you're going. And then aside from that, Mammoot's been a pack company for a long, long time. And I do think that if you try them out, you'll notice that without having the airbag guts right up against your back, it allows you to pack what's in your backpack right up against your back. And they do, I think, I honestly believe, carry very, very well.
Great, Doug. Thank you.
Cool.
Let's come back to Clausen here for a second. So, John, what are the benefits to working with compressed nitrogen? And what's sort of the air travel protocol on a compressed nitrogen type of system?
Sure. So, let's see, God, this just went in one ear and out the other. Nitrogen, the benefit I touched on earlier, it's not affected by altitude or temperature. Compressed air is. Compressed CO2 is. If anyone's taken a small canister to, fill up their bike tire, and towards the end it starts to hiss and slow down and get very cold or even frost, it's going through a phase change. Nitrogen doesn't do that. It's going to fill your bag as quickly, regardless of altitude or temperature, compared to compressed air. Flying with anything under pressure. It can be a can of hairspray. It can be a small CO2 canister. It can be one of the compressed air canisters or nitrogen. Ever since 9/11, it's an issue in the US. It's not in Europe. In fact, ABS helped write the IATA, whatever the initials are, regulations years and years ago. But since 9/11, they've, here in the US, each airline has chosen to be a little bit more strict, shall we say. That's why ABS has worked very hard on establishing service centers around. At this year's Outdoor Retailer, the consortium of different manufacturers of airbags got together, and my understanding at this point is that they're going to work together to go to with the Department of Transportation and get these, I don't want to call them the restrictions, but the implementation of restrictions reviewed and released so that these are recognized as life-saving devices and you can travel with them via air as you can throughout Europe. I've had numerous people fly from LAX and San Francisco straight to Europe. There's no issue there. It's usually going within the States. That being said, the easy way around it is either go and pick up a rental, as you can do if you come into Tahoe and come here to Tahoe Mountain Sports, or you can fly with an empty and exchange it at your destination.
And can you just touch on briefly, so what do people do? They bring their empties here, we give them a full one, of course. What actually happens to that empty? Where and how does it get filled? And what's the process that goes into sort of the inspection or the quality control so that the customer here knows that we're actually giving them a legitimate, cartridge, I would say.
Thank you, Dave. Did you read my notes? So yeah, that's a really big issue because it relieves Dave and the scuba shop and the paintball shop of liability. ABS truly believes that this is a life-saving device for you. that your life is on the line if you're pulling it. Basically, shit's gone wrong and you're in deep trouble. They want to make sure that the system's going to work for you. So when these empty cartridges come back to ABS, Dave waits, sits on them for a while, gets a collection, ships them back up to the head of North America, and a dedicated ABS technician goes through, scopes every canister. It goes into the refill machine. It sits there for 5 days. It gets filled, it gets weighed. It gets weighed at the end of 5 days, make sure it's the same. If the numbers don't match up, it doesn't go out to you. The canister is permanently sealed. You can put it in your pack and keep it there all winter, summer long. You can take it out, put it in, take it out, put it in. There's not a gauge on it. The most accurate way to determine if there's a leak is to weigh it. And if you don't happen to have a gram scale, chances are your neighbor does. Only because they're a weight weenie, nothing else. But that's the most accurate way to know if your canister is holding its gas or not. Yeah. Okay.
And Doug, why don't you give us a quick rundown on the benefits of compressed air and some of the how compressed air works, what are the travel issues or restrictions, or how does that go?
Everything John just said about nitrogen is accurate. In fact, if you were to use a Mammoth backpack in Europe, you'd be using nitrogen. That's what they use over there with the Mammoth backpacks, because this issue of travel and refilling in Europe is not as much of an issue because the companies have done a better job over there getting these rental programs set up. It's a lot easier to fly with them over there, so it's just not really the same issue it is as here. So Mammoth uses compressed air only in the US to deal with this special US issue, because as someone else was saying, even though IATA says that we can fly with these life-saving devices, Delta and United just don't pay any attention to it, and it just kind of depends on who you get. I've flown all over the place internationally with these, just throwing them in my bag even though you're not supposed to. Half the time they make it, half the time they don't. And another option that you didn't mention, John, it's also a good option, is just dropping a canister in the mail. And if you pay hazmat and you want to ship it full, I've shipped them to Alaska, Norway, Sweden, all over the place. So there are options for just shipping them yourself. But here we use compressed air because the airlines have kind of just made it more of an issue. And it's worth noting that everything John said about nitrogen is accurate. It's a more stable gas. So if you fill this to 3,200 psi in a very warm room, and then you go out skiing and it's -40, the pressure will drop a little bit. And so when we fill them, you fill the 3,200, and then you put it in an ice bucket or outside cold, get it cold, and then top it off again. And it's important to know that the air that's in the canister, regardless of what gas you're using, is not responsible for everything that fills the balloon, right? That just initiates the procedure. The Venturi valve that we all use is filling the majority of the balloon. Okay, so even if, ours are supposed to run at 3,200 psi, even if this would be an extreme case, you were down at 2,600 psi, which would really be hard to do, the Venturi valve is still going to fill it. It's just going to be maybe a second slower. If everything's working properly, everybody's airbag should be inflating at just over 3 seconds. So the Venturi valve is really responsible. We do recognize the value of nitrogen, but in the US, the compressed gas works very well for the different variables here.
And Doug, other than here at Tom Mountain Sports, we can get your canister filled. Where else? What other kinds of entities are filling compressed air canisters?
You can go to scuba shops. You can go, in my experience, paintball stores. Paintball guys deal with a lot of compressed gas, and they actually tend to know a lot more about compressed gas than people in the airbag industry, I've found. So those are very reliable places to go, but you can also do it at a scuba shop.
So, and we ship them. Yeah, so Tom Mountain Sports, just a quick, we can ship them anywhere. So we're one of only 2 retailers in all of North America who actually have their hazmat certification for outbound shipping. So we can ship ABS canisters, we can ship compressed fuel of any sort anywhere in the continental US. We don't like to go internationally. That makes it a lot harder. But we recommend that you rent, and we work with a lot of different rental outfits, both in Europe and Alaska and other places where you can actually rent, and we sort of trade a lot of clients back and forth. Okay, now we're going to go back to Clausen for 1 minute. Can you explain the differences between a single and dual airbag and their position on the pack? 1 minute.
Okay, there's 1 versus 2. ABS started out with a mono bag, and it, most of them, as you can see with the Mammut.
You have an original.
There we go.
Right here.
Yeah, this is a historical model. We have 2. Somewhere mid-shoulder blade and up, behind the head and so forth. It works well, much like the life preserver that you were referring to, and if it's out in front or behind. But the benefit of 2, you have redundancy, you have a greater surface area, and I'm going to allude back to a couple of the recent studies that have come out of Europe now, to surface area. It's not just volume, but it's surface area. And the benefit of having basically a set of Red Bull wings on you with the ABS system is that it dramatically increases the surface area, which with these recent university studies and Avia expert studies have shown that surface area expanded aids in the lift of yourself up and out of an avalanche debris scenario.
Cool. Thanks, John. And guess what? Now it's your turn. So we're going to push it out to you guys for just a moment here, and then we're going to let these guys sort of finish us up. So I'm thinking about 15, 20 minutes or however many questions that you guys may have. We have a wireless mic. And basically, you can ask a question. Here are the rules, very simply. You can ask a question of all of them, and I will make sure to give them a 1 minute time limit. Or if you ask a question of one of them, we'll keep it to 2 minutes. You have the mic. Thanks, Greg. So Greg's going to go out, and if you have a question, please raise your hand, and we'll start fielding some questions from you guys.
At what altitude is there a difference between the nitrogen and the oxygen?
Ooh, specific question. Does anyone have any
In
scientific
other
data
words,
on that?
if we're staying below 14,000 feet, are we worrying about it? The differentials between nitrogen and oxygen?
I don't worry about it at all, but I'm using a compressed air system.
Yeah.
But I just make sure that when I'm checking my system to make sure that it's not going down too much and maybe even a little overfilling when I initially do it. And after that, again, the Venturi valve is really what's filling. But you will see I would say the temperature is going to affect the pressure of the gas much faster than the altitude. I think that's where you're going to see it the fastest. And you'll see it here in the shop. If you fill up a compressed air canister, it's not oxygen, compressed air, and take it out on a negative 40 day, you'll see a slight change in the pressure.
And are those cylinders interchangeable to be used on
They used to be, John.
The Mammut, my understanding, when you adjusted your threading was so that you could take the ABS carbon fiber canister and put that into use.
No, because they have their own can.
Is that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the actual. They're very similar. They're both working with a puncture disc, and something needs to puncture the disc. Okay, and with a pyrotechnic system, it's a needle.
You're right.
And with this, it's a needle. Okay, so they're very similar systems, and we have put ABS canisters in these packs, and they work, but not with enough reliability to allow us to recommend it.
My understanding from outdoor retailer last month was that the Mammut did come up in terms of compatibility, but here in North America, that may be moot versus Europe. What also affects, ABS has the tightest, strongest tension strength of all the airbags on the market. That's a combination. We actually use just a little bit over 4,200 PSI a ton. And that comes in handy if you have a late pull and your bag's already under pressure from outside forces, snow load, yourself being down on the side, anything like that. So that in combination with any effect of altitude or temperature, all of those things come into play, and we know that time is your enemy.
Cool. Yeah, so a couple, raise your hands now just so I can get an idea of how many questions we have. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Great. Hi. Yeah, and speak into the microphone.
Hi. Thanks for coming.
Has anything been, like, have there been any studies about reduction of blunt force trauma injury with any of these packs? You know, like the configuration, the different, you know, like over the head design versus the wing design?
Yeah, I think that's what you know, the slides that I showed about the data, we need that to mature. There is, and it's not as reliable as we would like to see it. So we know that 25% of people die from blunt force trauma. Now it stands to logic that if you're on top of the snow, you are not down there getting churned in the, you know, in the washing machine. But in my, and this is just me, in my opinion, I do think the fact that we are, that as the American airbag market matures and more of us are skiing and we have more data, unfortunately the fact that we're going to be hitting trees on the way down, that's going to affect probably the survival rates. Because it would stand to reason that we will have more blunt force trauma because we're in and amongst trees. So I hate to say this, but I expect that survival rate number to actually go down because we will affect those blunt force trauma numbers. But again, it's gray. I mean, it's just going to be, it's up to reporting, it's up to a bunch of different factors. So we can't say, but that's my own personal opinion.
I was going to give Doug a quick shout at that one too.
You can look it up online, but Pascal Hagley has done a study where he's put accelerometers, motion detectors, basically on the head of a dummy, and he does have some data. You know, again, small data sets, but he does have some data that specifically showed that the dummy with the accelerometer with the PAS system, the airbag that's around your head, that it was the least amount of motion on the head, and some of them showed pretty violent motion on the head. And I would agree with what was just said, that the numbers are going to go down because people are going to hit trees. And in fact, when you do deploy an airbag, you're now going to start moving much faster, and you're going all the way to the bottom. So if are objects in your way, the chances of hitting them and getting hurt by them do increase when you deploy the airbag in that way. So. But Pascal Hagley, his name, he's got a study that specifically points to the reduced head trauma from the PAS system.
Pascal's one of the gurus in this industry as far as studying incidences and so forth. The percentages in North America range from about a little under 22% to as much as a little over 30%, 25% being roughly average. So depending upon where you ski, the fact of the matter is if you get caught in a slide and it's a fast-moving open area and you're up to 60 miles an hour, you know, helmet, airbag, you're in a lot of hurt. But I agree that the numbers, chances are you're going to see those going for North America. Whereas in Europe, trauma deaths are about 6% because of being above tree line. So that's why that number plays into account.
Thanks, John. We're going to go to the next
Okay,
question.
Dave. I can keep going.
I'm sure you can.
I stay up late reading this stuff.
So my question was to the Black Diamond rep. Your bag is battery powered, and is there a temperature difference, or does temperature affect the battery and how it's performing at all?
It does, but at -30, if you have 4 lights on the bag, you're going to get 4 deployments. It a lot of times will affect how long that battery stays charged more than how many deployments you're going to get out of it. So if it's fully charged at -30, like you're on a hut trip, you can get 7 and 8 days out of it at -30 Celsius. So, does that answer your question, or?
Yeah, no, that was clear.
I mean, in this room, I could probably deploy it 8 times with the 4 lights, but you know that at -30, if there's 4 lights on, you have 4 deployments.
Okay, great, thanks.
I'm unclear on whether the gas from the chamber, I get the Venturi valve and oxygen being pulled in or air being pulled in, but is it a 1 deployment system, or is there a lower pressure in that after a single deployment, if you packed it back together, that it would partially deploy again? No, probably to Doug or John.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understood the question, but these are one deployment systems.
One, and then there's nothing for
One
the...
and done, unless
okay.
you decide to carry an extra canister.
Yeah.
You can, however, because they stay inflated, they're a closed system, you can use it to ski all the way, the rest of the way out.
Yeah, the Bavarian Mountain Rescue, I don't know if this is just folklore or not, but they used to always just ski with their ABS bags pre-deployed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can still get out. Just don't take the air out of it till you get home.
We can show you guys what a Venturi valve is. So afterwards, when we do the group deployment, we probably have 4 to 6 packs. So if people want to just experience it, look at it, blow one off, just come on up and sort of claim it. And about 4 to 6 folks who don't own bags will be able to deploy and do a pull as well. You're okay. Price point? Oh, that's a good question, Polly. Okay, so very quickly we'll start with John on, now you're on my left. Start with your price ranges for your entire product line. So just start at the beginning and go up, and then we'll go across.
$950 to $1,080.
Aaron?
That's 100, not.
He likes to hold the mic.
So the modular system, they could go on any packs, $1,000, and the vest that has the integrated systems, $1,349.
We are $1,400 to $1,500, and that is a one-time deal because then you're not paying to have your cans refilled. And I'll say I've never seen these bags on sale yet, so at 15% off tonight, it's pretty amazing. I haven't seen them on sale ever.
So we're pretty much on par. We're anywhere from about 1,000 to 1,200. All of our stuff is sold modularly. So you get the ABS activation unit, which is the trigger and the canister. You buy the mass unit, which is the airbag system and the valve and the hose and everything. That's going to be $6.99 retail, and then you add whatever pack you want on there. And so our packs are going to be anywhere from $2.99 to $3.49 there. So it's a total complete a la carte system. Some of our packs do have the more, we call them our free rider packs. They have SPS protection in them as well. So you have the spine plate protection up against your back as well.
So the Mammoth system, similar to the ABS, is a modular system, so you can buy it as a complete setup. Some of the smaller volume lightweight packs are going to be in the 850 range, up to about 1,200 for the Pro PAS with canister. And then similar to ABS, you can get the packs running from around 200. So once you own the expensive part of it being the airbag system, if you need a 45-liter pack because you're on search and rescue, you've got that one, and then you need a 15-liter because you're going to hop out of bounds at SWA for the afternoon. You can take that system and move it from one pack to the other. So you can really put the pieces together however you want, but roughly 900 to about 1,200.
I was a little brief trying to accommodate. That was the overview picture. Basically, the base unit, which comes with an 8-liter zip-on attached, is $950. That range that I gave you above there includes the most typical 24 or 32 zip-on. The high mark was with the 45 plus 5, so with basically 2 zip-ons, minimalist, up to the big guy.
And I'll speak very quickly to 2 of the brands who aren't here, but BCA starts at about $750 for pack and canister and goes up from there. We also carry Scott packs, and our Scott rep couldn't be here, but the Scott system is quite interesting. Uses argon gas in a combination, and those packs start at about $950 as well. So Scott and BCA are 2 of our other brands that we do carry as well, who are not present. I had a question whispered into my ear about weight. Weight is a really big conundrum. I'll let these guys answer it, but it's going to be really hard because you're not a weight weenie. If you're a weight weenie, you're not carrying an airbag pack. I can tell you that right now. Or maybe no. Well, we got some shaking heads. Yeah, good. These are not lightweight packs. We're base starting about 5 or 6 pounds. I'm gonna shoot these guys up too, but if anybody wants to jump in on the weight conversation, other than Clausen, you're more than welcome to.
Well, whoever asked the question, Dave, you can give them this. This is the most basic piece of the puzzle. So, 6, 7 pounds?
7 pounds.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's just the most basic. There's a canister in there, there's a trigger, airbags, and a little bit of mesh and some webbing so you can strap, attach it to your pack. And obviously, all the other packs are gonna, add weight and volume to that. So, 6, 7 pounds.
Well, that's 6, 7 pounds plus the pack.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. So that's the base, benchmark, and go up from there.
This pack is the Halo 28 in a large, and it is 7 pounds, 8 ounces.
It's going to get a lot lighter once we get the lawyers approve the carbon fiber canisters.
Well, the carbon fiber doesn't actually lighten up nearly as much as people think, because an empty the air weighs a lot, right? I mean, it's something to keep in mind. Compare the weight of an empty canister to a full canister. You'll be surprised. This is a Mammoth's RAS 30-liter light pack, and with the canister, it weighs just over 5 pounds. It's the lightest pack in the category relative to its pack volume size. And I think it's interesting that the Black Diamond, what was it, the Avalanche Anarchist, that was a super popular pack, remember? I think that weighed 5.5 pounds. So, and I kind of disagree with saying if you're wearing an airbag, you're not a weight weenie. I mean, nobody wants to carry a lot of weight, and when they're really heavy, people stop wearing them, or maybe they only wear them when they're riding lifts so they can get out of bounds, and then they don't take it ski touring. And his packs have gotten a lot lighter, at least in the Tetons. You see a lot more people ski touring with them.
So just to get the range on the Mammoth, as Doug said, the lightest weight ones are going to be just over 5 pounds. The largest volume, 45 liter all in, is about 7 1/3 pounds.
Great, thanks guys. Don't I get to say what the weights? Oh, go ahead, John,
Okay.
yes.
I like to think of it as how much does it weigh compared to the pack that I would normally carry. And that's about 1.5 pounds more. Where it comes out on the scale, 6.9, 7.1, in that range. I tended to have a little different perspective on the bottle. Steel canister is 1.23 pounds, carbon fiber is 0.67, so it's about half the weight. Yeah.
But we should also mention carbon fiber canisters are not available in North America.
In North America, yes.
So the point is moot.
Yes.
My point there is you can reduce weight. The canister is not the only way to reduce weight, and we've shown it because that pack is 2
And the other
pounds lighter.
consideration is how many people have used Go Light products. I don't mean to slam them, or have ridden a mountain bike at North Star with some uber light components and see how they get destroyed. There's a crossover point of going really light and sacrificing durability. It's a life-saving device. It needs to be built with some stout components, some serious stitching, tacking, some durable fabric. These are relied upon by a lot of search and rescue, snow safety experts, and if you go too light, you're risking reliability. And then weight and cost have a crossover point as well.
Got a question back here.
Okay. Are there any known incidents in Tahoe where airbags have saved a life?
How about with a Tahoe person?
I know that. I'm asking.
I'd be
in
curious
Tahoe.
why you'd be wondering about in Tahoe. Because you think the snowpack's different, or because nobody wears airbags here? It'd be
Because of snowpacks being different and terrain features, and I'm just.
The answer from the peanut gallery.
This is where we ski.
Yeah, you guys be Avalanche are probably better than us.
So we've got some Sierra Avalanche Center representatives here who are saying answer is unknown according to their individual powwow over there in the back. But it's a great question. Yeah.
We haven't heard about it, but we also have a culture that doesn't report all the incidents that do happen. right? So we actually would like to hear about incidents.
But it also
and
seems like a funny
observations
question
when
because I know the answer to this, but have you had people die in avalanches?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that seems to me to be the real question.
Yeah.
And the fact that Mount Rose, all of the ski areas that have any steep terrain, all of their patrol have airbags these days.
That was actually going to be one of our questions was, I think almost all the patrols in the Tahoe Basin are using airbag packs from at least one of your manufacturers, right?
Yeah.
Last question for now.
The question that I have is on the, I think the North Face one, your unit fits on the outside of packs, is that right?
Yes, yep. So, I mean, if you wanted, I could show you guys kind of offline at the end here, but it affixes to any pack. Now, again, you're not going to take a book bag or anything like this, right? So, right. So it affixes to the pack. You have shoulder straps, you have a mesh back panel, and then with your webbing over the top, it also comes with if I can handle that, these loops down here, go around your legs. So it's very, very secure. Yeah.
That was my question,
Yeah.
whether or not that there was a learning curve on figuring out how to make sure it stays on.
In all honesty, yeah, you're going to want to set this up several times, probably 2 or 3 times to kind of get the handle of it, for sure. When you open it up out of the bag, there's all these straps and which way to orient it. Yeah, it's like any piece of technical equipment. Get used to it. Try it out at home, obviously before you go out. But yeah, you do it 2 or 3 times, you're a pro at doing it. And I think that's really the beauty of this system, is that when you need it, you put it on the pack. You don't need it, you save that weight we were talking about earlier. So it is very, like a lot of these guys, it is very modular. Right? Plus, you get to wear the pack that you like the best, right? That fits your body, that's fitted to you, regardless of brand.
Awesome. So in order to keep this moving, and we got a couple other things we want to do tonight, we are going to close up right now with one final question. They're each going to have about 1 minute to, maybe we'll start this time with Doug. 1 minute to either, you can do anything you want with your 1 minute. You can rebut something somebody else said. You can point out a feature or number of features that maybe your pack has that some of the other packs don't. Or you can just give us your closing statement on why you think your pack is the best and its top selling points and why you should buy one tonight. So we're going to start it out with Doug. We're going to put it on him first to give us his 1 minute closing statement.
My 1 minute closing statement is that in 2009 I was working for Jackson Hole Ski Patrol and Big Wally died in an avalanche there, and ever since then Jackson Hole Mountain Resort Ski Patrol has been using airbags. 4 days after that incident, a client bought me a Snow Pulse PAS system, and I triggered an avalanche while guiding for high mountain heli skiing, and this airbag saved my life. So I would very strongly encourage you to think about any of these airbags and try to maybe change the culture a little bit, because you've had avalanche deaths in Tahoe, and we'd like to see them go down, because I'm sure there's a lot of people in this room that have had friends die, and it sucks. So personally, I don't really care what kind of airbag you get. I'd love to talk to you more about this one and tell you what I like about it, but I would really strongly encourage you to try to change the culture of Tahoe until you have less avalanche deaths.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what Doug has to say. This is a great problem to have for you guys, because there's a lot of really, really great product out here. I will say for Ortovox, there's a reason we kind of feel bad for these two guys standing on either, feel like we're ganging up on them, but there's a reason we partnered with ABS, and that reason is reliability. The thing that I want is, when I pull that trigger, if that day ever comes that I have to pull that trigger, I want, without equivocation, I want 100% assurance that that airbag is going to go off. And I think that's why we partnered with ABS. We wanted to elevate the game in our way. Not only is it a life-saving device, but it's a pack. It's something that needs to move with you when you ski. It's something that needs to be comfortable. It needs to carry well. And so what we feel is one of the best carrying and most comfortable skiing packs out there, along with the reliability of the ABS system. So,
Nice 1 minute.
I think exactly what these guys are saying, and part of that is being super confident in the system you're using and not having any doubt in your mind when you're out there. And so that's where we felt this pack was a real game changer, in that you can deploy it, you can repack it, make sure you've repacked it right, and deploy it again, so you're confident in all stages of it. And then being able to run your diagnostic and knowing before you leave your car that this system is operable and that you have your charge and the fans operating and all the electronics are working. So we feel you can be really confident with this once you've gotten used to it and used it and practiced with it a lot.
Yeah, I hate to sound like a broken wheel, but you guys, I mean, I think this conversation is amazing that we're having. And you guys, if you're going to pull the trigger and getting an airbag system, you cannot make a bad choice. Dave doesn't buy marginally okay product. These are all top-notch brands. The technology, I think, is proven across the board. North Face, again, we partnered with ABS because, Jared, I'm going to steal this line. The reliability is there. Longevity of performance is there. And that's why North Face partnered with them. I guess lastly, we haven't really talked about it, but I did want to mention we are the only brand that actually is building a vest with airbag system built in. So a lot of the patrollers are wearing this, Snowbird, a few of the guys I think at Squaw are using this. So you can carry ski, you can carry your board, you can carry your shovel, your probes, everything, and the airbag is built in. There's, to my knowledge, no other brand doing this system. You guys are doing it? All right, I stand corrected. So this is a kind of a cool way to go. And if you don't want to carry a pack, or you maybe don't want to do a whole modular system, and you just want to rock the vest instead, that's available as well.
None of these guys have a chance to come back at what I say.
You're the last one, John.
Airbags aren't a silver bullet. They're not a get out of jail card free. They're another tool in your arsenal. It's important to have, as I think we all know, this audience, Beacon, Probe, Shovel, education. An airbag is one of the tools that doesn't make you solely dependent upon your partner and how well they're trained. There have been Tahoe locals that have been saved by use of an airbag. You can go to YouTube and you can pull up hours upon hours of video of people being saved. But the best tool that you have is your head, and to get it educated so that you make good decisions. But if shit goes wrong, it's a good thing to have and to have practiced with it. ABS is really proud to have started this category, to be on the backs of more professional users and end users than all the brands combined. It has a great track record. Is anything perfect? No. I think the biggest question mark is always the user himself rather than a piece of equipment. I think Black Diamond's great. They've broken out of the mold. They're thinking outside the box, and I can't wait for a few more years to go by to see if their design really is holding to its promise. But it's a life-saving device. So for me personally, and especially with my son who skis and rides the backcountry in Utah and a sled in Montana, I want the most proven system on his back. And so if it wasn't ABS, I'd come into to Dave after hours and I said, listen, I need to buy XYZ brand from you and give it to my son. Take a look at all the airbags, come up, ask us questions individually, and then when the time is right for you, pull the trigger, pun intended.
Hey, let's get a big round of applause for all these guys. I just will add very quickly that I want to express my appreciation. It's a big category. This is important stuff. I've sold personally an airbag pack to a couple people in this room who I recognize and who are great customers. And they'll tell you, this is like a 30-minute conversation, right? When we're in the store, this isn't like a 5-minute conversation. So we welcome you to stick around. We're gonna do the raffle right now. We're gonna do the group deployment right after the raffle. Does anybody want to win a $900 airbag pack, like, for free? Anyone? Especially because it supports our awesome forecasters and all of the work that Sierra Avalanche Center does here locally. So once again, a big thanks to all these guys, a really big thanks to Ortavox, and a really big thanks to Mahmood for supporting all that. You have a chance to get any more raffle tickets you want, but we're going to roll right into the raffle if my lovely assistant, Kaya, where are you? Kaya! Oh, that's okay. We're going to start with the small stuff. Don't worry. We're just going to get it all going. For those of you who want to stick around and deploy your airbags or use one of ours, how many do we have? Do we have a...
How many you want?
Yeah, it's the same.
So we have 8 deployable airbag packs for anybody who would like the chance to pull one after this. My raffle people, come on up. Kaya, Kevin. Everybody stretch your legs for a second. Don't worry.
Now we just need to start saving our
Kaya, Kevin, bring me raffle stuff now, please. It's okay, you can keep selling tickets, just bring it up here. Never mind, I have it. Oh, I should also give a search out. We have Nevada County Search and Rescue here as well. If anybody's interested in joining Nevada County Search and Rescue, you can talk to Ivan in the big orange jacket. No, that'll be for the last part of the raffle.
How'd you break your neck? I know. It was great. I was in a store. I hooked it up wrong.